Hey guys, again this is Rob from MacRock Marketing coming to you with another video. Yeah, today I wanted to talk about something I think is huge. It's actually probably even more important than mindset in certain ways, and not like other videos that I put out, but just the way you think and how you are, and yeah, let's get into the video and you will find out why I think what I'm talking about here is more important than, like I said, mindset or anything really, because it's not as far as what you do or how things are done, but it's pretty much what can get the ball rolling or keep the ball still forever. And again, I'd rather have tried and failed than not tried at all. So anyways, let's get into this video. Hey guys, again this is Rob from MacRock Marketing. I just wanted to put out another video here. I've decided to change things up, but I think it's for the better. Anyways, getting back to my question from the intro, you're probably wondering what's more important. I've talked about mindset, I've talked about all kinds of things. I've talked about, things being inside the box and outside the box, and what your mindset's like, and what you can do and how you can do it, and about being present, about being, like I say, with the open mindset, and having and having basically an open mindset, like being able to think outside the box, also seeing how things are, seeing what you do, when you do it, how you do it, all kinds of stuff like that. But today I want to talk about something even more important than that, and that is fear. That's right, fear. Why fear? Because in life, everything is fear-based. People live by fear, people die by fear, people are secured by fear, insecure by fear. Fear is everything. Fear is what runs us. Fear is what keeps us going. Fear is why we do the things we do. Every last thing that we talk about, every last thing that we think about, every decision that we make is fear. It's all fear-based. Why are we so fearful? That I haven't really gotten into, but I will be getting it. I'm reading up on all these things, and I'm just trying to, get an actual reason why, besides the obvious. And the obvious is because we don't want it, right? Just like, why do we eat? Because we don't want to starve, we don't want to be hungry, we don't want to die, right? Because these are all things that can happen if you don't eat, for example, right? Because we all need food. You need food and you need water. If you don't have either one of those, it's been said you can maybe last a week or two without food, but with water, you're probably looking at days, a week if you're absolutely lucky. Don't take me on that, but that's what I've heard. But anyways, like I said, everything is fear-based, everything. Again, this is Rob from MacRock Marketing. We always talk about this. We talk about, why don't you do that? Why don't you do this? Why don't you try something else? Why don't you get a better job, for example? Why don't you, you see someone, and, you see someone, that you want to start dating, but you're too afraid. You don't want to. You don't feel like it. You're scared. Well, that all comes down to fear. That's all fear. Everything is fear, What if you ask this person out and they reject you? How will you take it? Maybe you'll be crushed. Maybe you will never want to date again. Who knows? All kinds of things could happen because of that, right? It's kind of scary, actually, to think about it, and to think that people, just because of one thing that happens, their whole lives have changed. They change the way they are, they change the way they act, they change who they hang out with, because if something like that happens. People are afraid of this. They're afraid of all kinds of things, right? Because of fear. Fear is what just keeps things going, I guess, in a way. You know, it's kind of like people are like, well, how can you say stuff like that? Well, I guess it's kind of like the good, the bad, the yin, the yang. You know, there's bad, there's good, there's evil, there's good doers, all kinds of things. You know, just like with people that, you know, for example, just like people that, you know, go bungee cord jumping, for example, or go skydiving. Like, why would you want to do that? You know, jump like 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever it is feet in the air, jump out of an airplane and have a parachute, you know, make sure you make it. I don't know. Why would you do that? I don't have a clue. But all I do know is that obviously they're not fearful of that. You know, fear comes in many forms. Like I said, you know, it could be someone that you find attractive and you want to ask them out on a date and start dating them, but you're too scared. You're like, what if they reject me? What if they reject me? But then going back to, you know, two sayings that I love is, the first one is, you know, A, you don't know until you try, and B, I'd rather have tried and failed than not tried at all. Because you know what? If you're a worrisome person, you actually may end up worrying yourself to death. You know, what if I woulda, what if I woulda, what if I woulda? And you just go over that, you just keep saying that over and over and over again. And you know, will you drive yourself crazy? I don't know. You could, you might. I'm not really certain, but you know, there's a lot to be said about that, about fear and what you do and how you handle it, and just everything about fear. Because like I said, everything we do is fear-based. It may not seem like it. There's obviously different levels, right, of fear. There's, you know, just mild things. But then there's stuff that, you know, turns people, it, you know, makes them almost go into a state of schizophrenia or paranoia or something like that. That's pretty scary too for someone that's, you know, doesn't know what's going on. You know, because I've said this a few times in a few of my past videos, and the mind is super, super powerful. Like, we have no idea how strong the mind is. We're just, you know, doctors are just starting to figure this stuff out, and it's pretty scary. Like, you can pretty much think yourself to losing weight, to getting a partner, to all kinds of things, right? And those are the good points, right? But then if you go take the negative, which is fear, again, all about fear, people are scared, they're paranoid, they're all kinds of things because of fear. And everyone's different, right? But the thing is, again, going back to the mind, it's all about the mind, because we don't know what to expect, because it's different for everyone, right? It could just kind of, you know, mildly affect you, or someone else, it could barely affect them. But other people, you know, it might put them in a hospital, you know, put them in, and end up putting them in a psych ward somewhere, because it's that real to them, you know. And this actually transforms into all kinds of different things that obviously I'm obviously no medical professional, so I have no clue, but I get the gist of a lot of things. But you know, I can't sit there and say, oh, it's this and this because of that. I'm not, you know, I'm not qualified to make any kind of medical advice here. I'm just going by what I've seen, what I've learned, what I've heard, what I've read, and those kinds of things. But again, fear, it's scary. It can mobilize you, or it can get you going. You know, like that old saying goes, you know, it can light a fire under your butt, and it can. But it could also immobilize you, you know, because depending on what it is, you know, like I said, it could be asking someone out, like I said before. It could be, I don't know, it could be public speaking. That's one thing that a lot of people are afraid of. Not afraid of, but don't like it. You know, it's one thing to ask or to get someone to talk in front of 5 or 10 or, you know, less than 20 people kind of thing. But, you know, when it's 50 people, it's another thing, or 100 or the thousands, you know. like all this stuff, that we have no control over sometimes. But we kind of do have control, but in a way we don't, because again, the mind is a super powerful machine, living organism. Well, I refer to it almost like a machine because, like I said, people have been sick and gotten better just from positive thinking, from thinking about what they want, how they want to be. And some people think it's silly, some people think it's rubbish, some people think they're the crazy ones, but maybe everyone else is. Again, who knows? This whole mind thing it's crazy when you think about it, how big it is, how much potential there is for anything, for anyone to do anything. It's absolute insanity when you think about it. Like people are healed just by thinking, and again, that's the mind, but it could also be fear, because they both kind of tie into each other. Because if you're fearful of dying, right, some people will just give up and just slowly fade away, right? But then other people will say, the heck with this, and I'm going to fight, and I'm going to fight for my life, and I'm not going to stop fighting until, as long as I'm alive, I will continue to fight and fight and fight and fight, and it's just crazy how people are, how you have people in the middle, but then you have the extremes on either end. The ones that just say, oh, I'm done, doctor said I'm gonna die, blah, 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 because they're fearful, right? And these are normally the kind of people that just give up and just say, oh, well, that's just the way it is. But then you have the other ones that get thrown something fearful like that. The doctor says you're gonna live for 2 years or 6 months or whatever it is, less than 5 years, and like 15 years later they're still going strong, right? Because they just said, screw this, I've been thrown this, but you know what, I'm gonna make the best of it, and I'm gonna beat this. All these diseases and stuff, I mean, sometimes it's beyond anything, but how many times have people gone to hospitals, for example, and the doctor says, you're done in X amount of time, whether it's days, months, weeks, whatever it is, years, and like, let's say they say you'll be gone in a month, for example, and a year and a half later they're still going strong. Well, obviously someone made a boo-boo somewhere, because not even the doctors know. And again, this is all about fear and all of that, but the thing is that also how important and how strong the mind is. Because you know what, if your mind wasn't that strong, you probably would have passed on, when the doctor said so, or thereabouts. Because then there's also the other thing, right? They hear stuff like that, they get scared / fearful, and they just accept that as their sentence. Okay, doctor said I got X amount of time, fear kicks in, and okay, we're done, bye, see you later. And that's the end of it. Like, it's crazy how things are and how things work as far as that goes. Like, some people just get immobilized when they hear stuff like that, because they're so afraid, so fearful. They hear this bad news and poof, it's like it's the end of the world. And again, that goes back to other videos I put in the past about mindset, right? Because if you have a closed mindset, it's just like, oh God, it's the end of the world, blah, blah, blah. You think about the worst, or even ones that I put out earlier about, the glass half full or half empty. If you think of the glass as always half empty and you have a closed mindset, you're pretty much screwed. Like, you're toast. Of course you're going to think everything is negative and everything is bad and everyone's out to get you and all kinds of things like that. But if you think of it as a glass half full and you have an open mindset, and you'll just like, you know what, screw this. This is just another challenge that I'm not going to fail, that I'm going to conquer this challenge. So you work it. And you know what? Sometimes people don't make it, but you know what? As I said earlier on, it's better to have tried and failed than to not tried at all, because some people do that. They don't try, and then they wonder later on, what if I would have done this? What if I would have done that? Or let's say someone sees someone that they want to date, same-sex, opposite sex, whatever it is, right? Because we're in a whole new world these days, and with COVID and everything, that also makes things a little different and stuff. But and they might say to themselves, well, what if I would ask this person out? Let's say they're fearful and they don't, and then like, what if I would ask this person out? And then they sit there and they wonder and they question themselves, and maybe they would have said yes, maybe we would have had a life together, and they just start thinking, right? And they pretty much, and some people almost worry themselves to death, like to the point where, what if I would have done this? What if I would have done that? If I would have done that, this could have happened or that could have happened. But again, that also comes back to this whole woulda, coulda, shoulda. And as you can tell, this is a whole massive big web of all kinds of things that all kinds of people can get into. It's like there's so much to talk about, and when it comes to the mind and mindset and fear and glass half full, glass half empty, open mindset, closed mindset, all kinds of stuff like that. There's so much to talk about. Like, I could go on for hours on this subject. It's absolute insanity. Again, and all this is because doctors are starting to learn about the human mind and what we can do and how powerful it really is, because you can pretty much make yourself sick. Some people still won't believe that, but then why is it that when something bad happens for some people, something really bad will happen to them, and right away, blah, if they haven't digested their last meal, it's coming up, coming up for regurgitation, you know what I mean? Like, and why is that? Because of the mind. That's why. Because the mind is that powerful. You'll get so worried you'll just puke, or all kinds of reasons why people do things. It's just like when almost to the point where you wonder why, let's say, especially with kids. I know some adults, but even with kids, one kid will be in the classroom, one kid will throw up, and then half the class ends up throwing up sometimes. Why is that? I don't know. Is it gross? Is it disgusting? But mind you, they're kids, so they really don't have control of their minds. But as adults, you learn how to do this, and you're expected to control your mind, and you're expected to keep things in check. But yeah, see, like I said, I can go on for hours and hours about this, but anyways, I hope you learned a little bit here, about fear and what you can do, and points of, maybe you'll just listen to this and say, okay, oh geez, I am like that. Maybe I should try something different. There's all kinds of books. There's things you can read up. I know people don't like to read, or not as much as they used to, or whatever, but some of you are into videos. Well, go onto YouTube and go find some, some authoritative person in whatever you're looking into, and watch some videos that they have. Go on YouTube, they're free. So, you can look into it and find out about fear and why things happen. Because again, it's all in the mind, right? It's just like someone that with schizophrenia. Everything they think in their mind is like life or death to them. But in their mind, it's real. Like, they believe it's actually happening to them. That's why they react the way they react, and that's why they are the way they are. And they need to be medicated the way they are, because things are so, like, to them, it's so real, it's unbelievable. But the rest of the world doesn't see it that way, but that's how they see it. People usually just think, oh, they're crazy. Well, I don't think there's any such thing as crazy. Well, there's crazy in a good way, but not like that. Like, there's a reason for everything. People need to stop thinking about the past and the way things used to be, and there's a reason for everything. Everyone does everything for a reason, whether it seems right or wrong to you, but then that's just how you see it. Maybe you're wrong, right? You don't know. You're not in that person's shoes. But more importantly, you're not in their head. So whether they're fearful or something or whatever, that's not for you to decide. That's actually pretty judgmental of you. But yeah, anyways, like I said, hope you learned something from this. I hope you got something. Maybe it'll get you thinking. If you're afraid or fearful of something, Maybe you'll read up on it. Maybe you'll try, I don't know what, you can try like meditation or something. I don't know, just look up fear and try and figure something out, you know, to help yourself. Because it's all in your head. Fear really is all in your head. You know, especially stuff like that. But I mean, like, we can get into another whole section about abuse and stuff. But that is completely different. That is not that is the mind, but it's not just the mind. That's, you know, someone else is involved, so that's a completely different type of ball game. Any kind of abuse, because obviously that's someone else doing it to you. But you know, being fearful of asking someone out, that's all on you, all in your own head, and you're the only one that can fix it. Because again, like a few people I know, and I've been kind of adopting this lately, is the only way to conquer fear, the only way to fix fear is to conquer it. If you don't conquer it, you're never going to fix it, right? It's just like people that don't like public speaking, right? So they got to get up there and start speaking, and eventually at some point they will conquer it, you know. And maybe they'll start off and, you know, they'll be a wreck, and then they'll slowly get better and better and better. You know, that's just like with me doing these videos. In the beginning I was like, oh gosh, what am I going to say? How am I going to say it? You know, what am I going to, you know, how am I going to look? Am I going to look stupid or sound this or sound that or blah, blah, blah. And I've done a bunch of videos, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to put out the videos. People like them, they like them. They don't like them, they don't like them. It's just an opinion, right? They can say what they want, it's just their opinion. We're all entitled to our opinions. And even if someone gives you, even if you do anything, right, and people like ridicule you or whatever, just tell them, oh, well, that's just your opinion, you're entitled to it. Doesn't mean I have to let it affect me, but it's your opinion, I'm entitled to it. So anyways, I hope people got a little bit of this video. Can you please subscribe below? And like I said, this is kind of like my new format now, and I'll be sending out some more info. And yeah, I hopefully you guys enjoy this and it's a little better. I know the videos are much longer, but I'm just trying something new here. Anyways, there'll be more to come and better videos and you know, and anyways, yeah, like I said, I just hope someone gets something from this. And like I said, I'd love it if you subscribe, hit the bell notification, and leave a comment. Alrighty, hopefully you all have a great day, and remember, fear is all in the head, so it's all up to you, okay? Just like it was for me, like I just mentioned about my videos. And just do the best you can, and that's about all you can do. Give it your all, and you can't really ask for more, right? Anyways, have a great day. Bye.